Okay. Hello and welcome, guys. Last but not least, by far not least, we have a member of MoonSprite team who took part in the employment pathway, and I believe you guys have collected quite a few awards, and we're gonna be just chatting through your experience at Jumpfuser and maybe what you learned and any stories behind the development that you might have for us. So if you would like to start just by introducing yourself to the viewers and briefly talking about your game will be amazing.
Hello, my name is Pip, also known as Pip Makes Games, and I was the team leader and head designer of MoonSprite. So our project was suddenly ... And it was a game about shifting through different genres and going on an adventure while playing as the main character, Lily, who goes from a platformer to a tower defense level to finally an alien dating simulator.
Mm-hmm. I'll take us over to the gameplay. Let's have a look what the game is about. So something that I found interesting was that although it was a game jam game, it has a lot of volume to it, like you said, and I hope viewers had a chance to hear. It does the gameplay involves many different design aspects, which is really interesting because you have a platformer. At some point, it's a dating simulator. At some point, it's a tower defense, right? So that aspect of it is really interesting. It's quite impressive, although the game might at first glance appear like very simple, especially because of the style it has. There is a lot of content within it, and if we consider that this is a game jam game, right? And it has really a lot of content in it, and it keeps the player. There is always something different, right, that player can do. So every part of this game essentially is a game of its own, if that makes sense. And I think that's what really made it quite outstanding during a game jam, you know. So I think that's really something that should be outlined. The game really presented the player with a lot to go through, and it's always something different, you know. It's almost like getting a bundle with few different games, but it's still the same theme and it still carries over the same story. And I think that was really, really cool about this project. It was really great to see. What's your guys what's the ambition now that you went through the experience of Jumpfuser, right? What are you looking to do forward? Is this staying as a portfolio piece, or are you gonna reiterate on parts of this game before you actually use it as a portfolio piece?
So this is staying as a portfolio piece. So prior to us meeting, we hadn't had any prior contact. We were complete strangers, and we just found each other through Transfuser. And this means that the moment that Transfuser was over, or the production of the game was over, we kind of stayed in touch just for the project and split off to do our own independent things. Our programmers have moved on to their own independent projects. I have moved on to freelance design, and our artists have also found places in the industry.
I see. Awesome. So you definitely got plenty out of it, if we are talking like experience and something to show off the skill, essentially, right?
Yes. The intention was always, as the theme was showcase your talents, we wanted to create a game which categorically broke down multiple aspects of the idea of showing off our talents and engaging each member of the team and giving them their ability to show off what they have.
I see. I think that's wonderful. So how large was your team? And maybe you can give viewers a hint. What were the roles within your team? Like maybe what was the ratio? Programmers to artists, designers?
Originally, when the project started, we had 6 total members: 2 designers, 2 programmers, and 2 artists. However, the designer had unfortunately had to drop out due to personal issues, and we were left with 1 designer, myself, and 2 artists and 2 programmers. The artists, one was specializes in UI design, and the other specializes in character design. So we wanted the dating sim, for example, to really showcase our artists' ability to do different styles compared to what they did previously in the project. Our programmers had both done some indie work and had worked within university level experience. So we wanted to show off their ability to do tackle a flexible amount of tasks, such as keeping track of different variables through different gameplay, the ability to create different games, such as Dating Simulator and a Tower Defense, and the ability to do this under a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was saying that earlier. The way the game continues, you can still feel like it's the same game as you go through it, but at the same time, you have all these different experiences. You have all these different ways to experience the story. It's a game that like sort of keeps on giving, right? There are all these different ways to interact, and obviously people might have their favorites, but in terms of execution of like a project, I think it's absolutely nicely done. Would you say you had to cut out anything in terms of scope, or maybe did you learn how to scope better throughout your time doing the Jump User?
So the good thing was from the very start of the project, almost, I was put in charge, and I've had experience with scoping projects in the past, which allowed us to sort of control the feature creep and gameplay creep of the entire process. However, with that said, we did have a couple of things that were content. Originally, there was going to be a total of 4 genres. However, we had to cut out 1 genre, which didn't make it into the game, and we hadn't decided on what the 4th genre would be. That's how early on it was cut. Additionally, small bits of interaction were originally meant to be in the game, such as each stage of the game is supposed to be a mashup of 2 different genres. Such as the platformer was also supposed to be a Cooking Mama style cooking game, but that idea was dropped as development on platformers slowed down. And similarly, the tower defense level was also supposed to be a bit more polished up, but we had to drop it due to time reasons.
I see. Is there any like a game mode that you wish you could have included, or do you not? Or do you want to keep it a secret?
Right. If I was to redo the project, the way that I wouldn't necessarily add new game modes, but what I would do is I would reorganize the way that the games are handled. So instead of having it be the dating sim last with 2 games prior to that, what we would do is have the dating sim be a framing device for the games that you're playing. So if you go, for example, and you want to date the red-haired guy, you'd have to play the red-haired guy's game genres.
I see.
And that sort of stuff. It would allow for sort of a better, probably funnier rendition of the game, I think.
I feel like that's giving more options to the player as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting. And we have to shortly finish up. Just few last questions. What was the story behind the visual art style of your game?
So at the very start of the project, as we had decided the different jobs each team member would have. I instructed the artists to get together and talk to each other so that they could decide on the type of art aesthetic that we wanted to go with for the game. And then as the development of the game continued and we got to the dating sim section, I asked our character artist, could we go for a slightly different style so that we can have more realistic humanoids? And she said, yeah, and we went for an anime style of sort of characters for that bit. And I think it worked out for the most part. Originally, we had discussed whether it should be hot alien boys or hot alien boys, as in human boys who are hot and happen to be aliens.
All right.
So that was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you guys had a lot of fun with the project, right?
yeah, it was a very fun project to work with.
That's what it's about. I mean, you managed to find time to participate in Jumpfuser, and now you have a project at your hands that allowed every member of the team to have their input, and they have something to share with, whether it's employers or skills they gained if they want to go indie, right? So, kudos to you guys. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, any shout outs? We'll have to finish up because we are short on time.
Less of a shout out, more a plug towards myself. Check me out at pitmakegames.itch.io. That's about it. Also check out my team members, of course. I don't want to be greedy and hog the limelight. Another thing is, if you haven't voted for any of the Enterprise Pathway games, please vote for Scheme Demon, because I'm also participating in that, and I'm their designer advisor.
Well, there you have it, guys. But I must agree, please do vote. That is a great reminder, and that is actually a perfect transition for us, because up next we are going back to the pathway we started with, which is the Enterprise pathway. So we are actually going to be talking with a member of Coffee Bean Interactive, and that's going to be in just a second. So once again, thank you so much for the chat. It was a pleasure to talk with you, and best of luck in the future with any games development.
Thank you. You too.
Absolutely. Thank you. Talk to you guys soon.